Hello, welcome. My name is Laurel Houston. I am the creator of Body Mapping and the founder of Reflections Inside and Out, where we teach people to love who they are inside and out. I am taking the next couple of weeks, last week and a couple of weeks to come, and really talking about how your external relationships and even your internal relationships affect different parts of your body in different ways. So, last week we talked a lot about your joints and joint health and how connections are really affected and how it affects your joints. And today we are going to be talking about your lips and your hands. And so first I want to, hey Brooke, first I want to just start by talking about like what I actually define as a relationship. Hey Holly. So relationships to me are when two things, people, places, or things, want to connect. So if you have no desire to connect in any way, shape, or form, you can't consider that a relationship. It's a one-sided relationship or a toxic relationship. So when I say relationship, know that there has to be a desire there to have a connection. So with relationships, it could be with people, it could be with places, it could be with things, it could be with time, it could be with money, it could be with a car, it could be with another person. Hey, Taylor. All of these different things are considered relationships because there are two things that are trying to connect and to have that connection. So that's why last week we talked about joints. So if you have not seen that video, if you just go into the body mapping group, into the search and type joints, that one should pop up. Also, you can find me on my YouTube channel, which is at Reflections Inside and Out on YouTube. Okay, lips and hands. What do they have in common? So I'm actually going to start really basic with what they have in common. The first thing being skin. So they're both covered in skin. The difference between them is that your lips actually have one less layer of skin, which is why they have pigment and color on a natural level, and why hands can endure a lot worse and not have injury. So I want to give an example of this if I can. When we were getting ready to move from Logan, Utah down here to St. George, where I live now, I had the brilliant idea, because I couldn't find scissors, to bite the tape and use my teeth to rip it. Packing tape on your skin hurts, it pulls off some hair, maybe the top layer of dead skin cells that are going to fall off anyways. Packing tape, however, on your lip is one of the most painful things I've ever felt in my entire life and gave me a bloody lip because my lips do not have the protective layer that my hands do. And that's why they have pink, because there's actually less layers of skin there, and so you see the blood running through the body, where hands you don't. Okay, so why am I talking about the differences? Because people always bring them up, and what I want to talk about is what they have in common, which is when your lips get dry, when your hands get dry, that is a huge indicator that your relationships are drying up or sucking you dry. So first, let's get the physiological things out of the way, because I always get physiological questions. And my answer to them is this. If it matches, why are you asking me? So for instance, if you are a redhead who can look at the sun and fry, and you were outside for 9 hours and got a sunburn, why are you asking me why you got a sunburn? You got a sunburn because you didn't protect yourself against UV rays and you have highly sensitive skin. If you are someone who already has a tan, was gardening for 15 minutes outside with sunscreen on, and you still got burned, that doesn't match. So then you can ask me about your sunburn, okay? So physiologically, right now, a lot of people are going to say, I have dry skin and lips because it's cold and dry outside. Okay, well, how much time are you actually spending outside? So is it the coldness of your environment that is drawing moisture from your body? If you are someone who stays well hydrated, and what I mean by well hydrated is that you are consistently drinking at least half your body weight in ounces of water that has been mineralized. What do I mean by mineralized water? It has salt in it, it has electrolytes in it. You can drink a gallon of water, but if you do not have proper magnesium, potassium, and sodium levels, your body will not actually absorb that water. So you need to drink mineralized water. Okay. Um, when you are properly hydrated, then your skin stays hydrated as well. If you are drinking a gallon of soda and they're talking to me about your dry skin, of course, you're consuming so many levels of inflammatory products that, of course, you're going to be dried out. Your body is trying to detoxify. Okay. And I am well hydrated, use lip stuff, put oil on my skin, and it's constant. Okay, Taylor, then you're exactly who I'm talking to. So Taylor just put in the chat, I have extremely dry skin and lips. I am very well hydrated. I use lip stuff. I put oil on my skin, and it's still constant. So the physical habits do not match the reaction. Okay, so perfect example. What kind of mineralized water do I like best? I actually use filtered water, and I put pink Himalayan salt. 1/4 of a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt to a gallon of water. So at the beginning of my day, I actually have a gallon jug that I fill up with water, and then I put a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt in it. I don't believe in paying extra for water. I live in a desert. I already have to pay for my water. So I hope that helps, Polly. Okay, so when you are constantly over giving, you are going to feel depleted. You're going to feel dried out. For those of you who don't know my background, I used to teach anatomy and physiology, and I was a cosmetologist for, oh man, now I have to do math. I've been a cosmetologist for over 20 years at this point, 5 of which I was teaching. And one of the things that we teach our students is what makes your skin healthy. Those are things like collagen, elasticity, and sebum or oil. So when you have dry skin, you're not producing enough oil. And that is usually because no matter how much oil you do create, it's still not enough. So oil is something that enriches and nourishes. So when I have people who have really dry skin, one of the first questions I ask them is, how's your self-care? And it has nothing to do with what kind of soap are you using. I'm talking about what do you do on a regular and consistent basis that makes you feel more alive. Oh man, I've got a squirrel. I heard it. Okay, so here's my squirrel on self-care, because I actually get asked a lot about self-care. For me, self-care is a bubble bath with like so much Epsom salt in it that you feel like you're in the Dead Sea and you float. Not everyone is rejuvenated by taking a bath. So stop calling that self-care. For some people, running is self-care. For me, running equals possible death. So if someone says, let's go for a run, that is not self-care to me. That does not make me feel more alive and rejuvenated when it's done. So stop letting other people tell you what self-care is. If after doing the task, you do not feel rejuvenated and more alive, then it wasn't self-care. You could take a nap because someone told you that that was self-care, and you wake up groggy and ornery, and all you were doing was numbing. You could take a nap and feel up ready and alive, and you can do anything that day. That's self-care. So stop getting focused on this is self-care, and actually ask yourself, what rejuvenates me after I do it? That is self-care. It could be painting a picture, it could be calling a friend. But when people are not, especially women, are not in a consistent way practicing self-care, they are going to have dried out skin, because skin covers all of you. And you cannot connect to a person, a place, or a thing without it affecting your skin. So talking to someone, I want to leave my house and do stuff. Okay, yep, guilty on the nap 90% of the time. So thank you guys for chiming in and recognizing that, because people preach self-care all the time. And so you have all these women that are sitting in a bathtub and it's doing nothing for them. And you have other women that are like, I just want to run, but I'm supposed to take a bath. If it doesn't light you up when you're done, then stop doing it. So that is something that you need to really start asking yourself, what makes me feel alive and rejuvenated when it's over? Because the most important relationship you can cultivate is the one with yourself and the one with your body. That's literally why I started teaching body mapping, lifting weights. Kathy, I don't enjoy baths at all. Okay, so then that isn't self care for you. Something that would be self care is something that rejuvenates you. When you get done, you're like, oh, I feel so good right now. Or you actually have a desire to connect with other things. If you get out of a bath, or you won't get out of the bath because your door is locked and it's the only place where no one bugs you, that's not rejuvenation. And that's not actually self-care. Self-care helps you want to be around more people. It's not something that you use to hide from other people. So what does this have to do with your skin and your lips? When you are not engaging in something that revitalizes you, that rejuvenates you, it will show up in your lips and in your hands, especially your hands. When you are doing too much, your hands will dry out. When you are around or in relationships that are constantly making you feel less than, your lips will dry up. Think about when you were in high school or in college and you had those really, really good makeout sessions that it was like you actually really cared for the person. And when you got done, your lips felt so good and they were so smooth and they were probably a little bit swollen versus, you were just making out with someone because it was convenient and you were numbing and you got done and your lips were like chapped and irritated. And maybe you even got a canker sore when it was over. That is what I mean by connection versus just doing it to do it. And when things suck the life from you, you dry out. It is literally your soul and your body saying to you, stop doing that. It's not lifting us up. It's not rejuvenating us. It's not bringing us peace or happiness in any way, shape, or form. Stop it. Paint pouring. I love doing dirty pour paint. It's so fun. My lips have been excessively dry since I got to Texas. Okay, and that's actually ironic that your lips are drier in Texas because you moved from the desert to somewhere with humidity. So you should actually feel quite hydrated. Okay. And Taylor, so sorry, I'm cheating here a little bit because I know Taylor personally. You lost all of your intimate connections with friends, with family. No one you know is in Texas. And so every relationship that you are speaking is taking effort. It's actually taking something out of you to connect. And so, of course, that's going to dry your lips out. So for all of you that have dry lips because you're constantly talking to and communicating with people that do not give back to you, that do not replenish you, those are things that you need to find. How can I connect verbally with someone? Who can I connect with? Can I be totally vulnerable and honest? That's one of the reasons why I started doing these Facebook Lives. I missed being on stages. I missed being in front of live audiences. And I had just moved, and everyone I knew, everyone I was connected to, now lived 500 miles away. And I went, okay, how can I engage in uplifting conversations or interactions with my words and have them lift me up and light me up and give back to people who I care about? So when we are in relationships that are very one-sided, they're sucking us dry, they're taking the life from us. If it is a personal, intimate relationship, it's going to affect your lips. If it is a working relationship, it's going to affect your hands because we don't usually use our lips to do tasks. That would be kind of funny. We use our hands to do tasks. And so when it is a personal relationship, an intimate relationship, a relationship that there's connection and it's out of balance, that will affect our lips. If it is a work relationship, a task relationship, that is going to dry out our hands. Okay? Other things that I see manifesting with this same type of scenario. When people pick at their lips, Have you ever seen someone and they pick their lips apart, or maybe they chew on them and they get the dead skin? Those people are ready to remove people from their intimate circle. Okay? They're picking themselves apart because they're actually saying, I don't want you in my intimate circle anymore. And my husband's hands have gotten so smooth since we moved here because he has found his niche. He actually feels like he's doing something. Okay, so when you're picking at your lips, you're saying, I don't want you in my intimate space anymore. You can't be here either. It's usually something that's happening in a detoxifying process, or if you will not admit that you have people, they need to go. So the other places in hands, when people eat, they're, if it's the actual fingernail, it's about protection and feeling unprotected. If it is the cuticle, so like if they go around, that is, and people will say, oh, well, I have a hangnail. Well, you have a hangnail because you're chewing on yourself. But your cuticle is what nurtures and nourishes the fingernail. It's actually one of the parts that keeps your nail healthy. And when you feel unsupported in your tasks, your cuticle will dry out. If you feel like people are trying to control you in your tasks, you will pick apart your cuticle because you are trying to remove the things that are overbearing you, or they, in the name of nurturing, are kind of smothering you. Taylor, oh man, I know exactly who it is, right? I actually stopped biting my nails a while back after my whole life. So when you stop biting your nails, it's because you have finally stopped chewing yourself apart internally. When we chew on ourselves, it's because we're chewing on ourselves in our mind. And that's when I see little kids chewing on their nails. I know that they really need help with being reminded, done is better than perfect. I love you how you are. It's progress, not perfection. Um, because so many of us struggle with those things, and it's not because a parent did or said or a grandparent did or said. It's just the perception of a 2 or 3-year-old misinterpreting what's happening around them. So my daughter chews her nails. Yep, a lot of little kids do, especially if they feel like they don't have the choice to protect themselves, then they'll chew apart their protection because they feel stunted by what your daughter, because my daughter's 9, and one day she finally said, she goes, Mom, if you would stop telling me what to do all the time, maybe I would feel like I had choice. Oh, oh. So we scaled back a bit, and she has stopped chewing her nails. So, yeah. How do I help her? She seeks for perfection. The kiddos need a big hug. It's true. And that's one of the reasons why I bring this awareness, because even I, knowing everything that I know, in an effort to prevent my daughter from having to go through what I went through, I was just trying to fix her problem for her. And then one day I went, nope, my daughter is as strong or stronger than I am. She can handle going through what I went through. And I'm not going to force it on her, but I'm not going to prevent it from her either. She is strong. And that's what I, as a mama, needed to hear, that my daughter is strong enough to go through what I went through, even though I wouldn't wish it on her. She's strong enough to do it. And I backed off a lot. Yeah, stab right in the heart, Holly, right? Okay, so what about if it's not your child? What about if it's your coworker and you see them chewing or they're constantly needing lotion? On a side note, look at the ingredients of the skincare products you're using, because if alcohol is one of the first 4 ingredients in your lotion that you're using, stop. Lotion is a dehydrant. The whole point of it is to get you addicted to their product. So if you're using chapsticks that are full of fillers, or you're using lotion that's full of fragrance, that's one of the reasons that they want you addicted to their product. But that is a physiological thing. So if you're like, no, I have really high-end products that I'm using, and they're all natural and they don't have alcohol and all of these check marks, and your hands are still dry, you are overworking yourself and you have disconnected from your creative abilities. Right, Taylor? It is rude that they want you addicted to their product. Okay, so your hands, as we've talked about in some of the hand videos, your hands are about connection and creation. And so if you're already disconnected from people's, places, things, time, money, people that you work with, let's see, when we chew ourselves apart, it's because we're chewing ourselves in our mind. Exactly. So when you are disconnected from the things that light you up, you also disconnect from your ability to create. And when you disconnect from your ability to create, you disconnect from your creator, whoever that is for you. I'm going to use God because that's my word. When you disconnect from God, all your relationships go haywire, all of them. So when you are feeling overworked, you also feel unsupported. That's why you're doing more than you're supposed to do. When you feel like your personal or intimate relationships are toxic or in betrayal cycles, you shut down that relationship. And when you shut down trust, you don't want to talk. And so these are all ways that your spirit, your soul, are trying to say, you're not living, you're just alive. And the way you're currently living right now is sucking the life from you. So paint a picture, like, so figure out what self-care is to you, because that's going to help your skin. And then find something that makes you come alive when you create. For some people, that could be baking. For other people, that could be music. For me, I love creating curriculum. I love putting programs together. I love being able to, that's a lot of the things that I sell are because I just wanted to create something that was beautiful that helped someone. So I put together a class and and that lights me up. Some people paint pictures, I create workshops. So that is something that helps my lips feel alive. That's something that keeps my skin feeling soft and hydrated. And ladies, I live in a desert. We got more moisture yesterday than the previous 8 months. Okay, so if anyone is supposed to have dry skin, it's me. And I don't ever use chapstick. The only time I use lipstick is when I'm doing presentations. Um, and my hands are rarely dried out because two things. One, I say what I mean and I mean what I say. If I don't want to do it, I will not tell you yes. And the second thing is that I take time to create. I take time to do things that make my soul feel alive. And so it's easy to have a relationship with myself. It's easy to have a relationship with money. It's easy to have a relationship with my kids and with my creator and with money and with time. All because I choose to create. What can you make? What can you make? From bread to a song, a picture, make something, create something. Get a thought in your head that you put on paper. Dance, move. You cutting yourself off from creation is actually one of the things that's drying you out and leaving you feeling because you're living, but you're not full of life. You're in default instead of that beautiful creative place of design. And it's affecting your lips and it's affecting your hands because our hands help us create things and our lips help us create connections and words and intimacy. So whether it is your job, your child, your neighbor, time, how can you speak about it differently? If it is a task, how can you view it as your ability to create instead of just do? I can create a meal for my family, even if it is just peanut butter and jam, or I can make dinner. This is an extremely timely reminder. I hate this place of default, ready to move back into creation. Yes, Taylor, yes. Creative energy is beautiful, and creative energy is actually That is intimate energy. That is all of those beautiful, yummy things that make us go, I'm alive, I'm awake, I am a being of divinity, I am a being of creation. And this body is a resource to help me do those things, connect with those people. So I hope that this helped you look at the relationship that you're working on and go, okay, how can I connect to it in a more intimate way? How can my words show that? If I need to ask for help and support so that I'm not overworking, how can I do that? What are things you can do that are actually self care for you, not numbing and not something you were told to do by someone else? Okay. I would love for you, because some people are going to be totally stunted. They're like, I got nothing when it comes to self care. So, will you help the other women in this group out? And if there is something that you do that when you are done doing it, you go, I feel so alive. I feel so good. I feel so happy. This was totally about making me feel alive. Will you post it in the chat? Because not everyone wants a bubble bath. Okay. Not everyone wants a run. What do you do that makes you feel so awake? Help the ladies in this group out, improve their relationships. And next week, I will have another video specifically about relationships and what's going on with them. I love you. Thank you so much for participating, for being on here live. Have a fantastic day, ladies.